Hey, good afternoon to all our viewers today in this weekly Lunch and Learn session. And good morning to you if you're joining from Perth, because that's 10:30 over there in Perth. I have a very special guest today, and we are going to be discussing, even though we are moving into winters, but we are discussing a very hot topic today, which is how you can successfully buy a property in Perth. Myself, I'm Adeel Rizvi, and I help people create successful property portfolios so that they can retire at their own terms whenever they want. That's essentially what I do. But today it's all about our guest, who is a seasoned property manager, a real estate agent, a very well known figure in the real estate industry in Perth, in WA, Miss Ashleigh Goodchild. How are you, Ashley, today?
I'm well. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to talk about Perth today.
Now, thanks for joining us today, Ashley. And it's a very, very hot topic. It's a buzz topic. What is happening in Perth right now? But before we jump into it today, I have some very key questions that people keep asking me. I wanted to hear it from the horse's mouth, which is you. So before we go deep into it, guys, if you're watching this live, or if you're watching it as a recording later on YouTube or LinkedIn or Facebook, please leave your feedback. Please put a comment down there and tell what did you like about it. If you have any questions, please share them. Or just drop in a hello. Just say that you have been here and listening to it. Whether it's live or whether it's a recording, we really appreciate to hear from you. So, Ashley, what is happening in Perth right now? Why is it so crazy?
There is a big difference between what we're seeing in the media and what we're seeing actually on the ground. And that's why I'm really excited to sort of share that on the ground support with everybody. We are seeing in the rental side of things, it definitely has slowed down. So tenants coming through home opens is very diverse. Some properties are getting one person through, some properties are getting 20 through. So that's a very slowing market, and the media is not portraying that at the moment. So they're portraying that it's still really, really busy, and it's not. From a sales point of view, though, that is still very, very hot. So sales agents are known to cancel home opens before they get to the weekend because they've got offers in that are just too tempting not to accept straight away.
Yep.
People, when I say they're overpaying, I'm not saying they're overpaying, but they're definitely paying above the actual marketing price. So that's a very interesting topic as well that we'll talk about today. And, making sure people realise you're sort of not really overpaying as such. It's just sometimes a marketing technique with the agents as well. But selling is very hard. You've got to keep that stamina up. That's what I say to all my clients. Keep that stamina strong because it's going to be a long ride. You have to be active and you have to it's not a casual or a part-time search. You're doing a full-time search when you're really keen on securing something in Perth.
Exactly. Yeah. So if someone is looking to buy in Perth for whatever reasons, I know there are tens of different reasons to be buying in Perth right now for good growth perspective, easy to find tenants, and with all that given, what they should be really doing, how should they start preparing for that? I mean, I just want to get some quick, really key tips from your side so that people can start actually preparing themselves to find that right property for themselves, especially for people who are interstate investors who are looking to invest while they still live in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, but they want to invest in Perth and enjoy the growth.
Yeah, so straight up, the first thing I say to my clients is if you are contacting real estate agents on a Monday, generally they've already actually had a home open on for the previous weekend, already got offers that they're negotiating. So when you contact an agent on a Monday, generally they're going to say to you, property's under offer. And when you get agents tell you that all the time, you're going to feel like, how am I missing out on properties all the time? It could be that you're just asking on the wrong day. So I always recommend that you understand how the sales agent's ideal week works. So generally on a Wednesday or a Thursday, that's when they're going to put new listings on the internet. So they're nice and fresh for the weekend. They're booking in the home opens for the weekend. Wednesday, Thursday is a really great day to do it. Fridays, they tend to have a day off sometimes. So that's why I don't ever suggest a Friday you contact them. When you see a property online, set up your notifications on realestate.com or domain so that you're notified. Get on as many databases as you can with selling agents. There's a lot of off market happening at the moment as well. So they might give exclusivity, or maybe they'll give an early on property. So get onto the databases. This is a time that you want to be spammed by real estate agents in your inbox. So when you see a property first come online, message the agent and ask them, and I would recommend you do it through the internet portal. Ask them for if they've got a video for the property, have they got a home open booked, and can they send through the intent to offer paperwork. Even if you don't want to buy that property, get all that information, get the ball rolling, so that then when you've decided whether you do want to have a look at that property on the weekend, or buy the property sight unseen, or get someone to do that for you, then as soon as that home open is done, you've got the paperwork. You just submit that straight away. Because if you don't have the paperwork before the home open happens, you say, yep, I'm interested in putting an offer in. You try and contact the agent to put an offer in. They're busy with all their home opens and everyone else's paperwork that they're just going to ignore your email, and you're going to miss out again. So they're like a couple of little tricks of the trade that I really recommend people do when they first start looking to have the best opportunity of not getting constant phone calls from agents to say under offer, under offer.
Exactly. And I would just like to add, we have some comments over here as well. So we have Fazil from Edmonton, Canada, who's joining us. I think, Fazil, I know you very well. Thank you for joining, mate. And we have a question as well from Irfan about how can we secure off market in a crowded area right now, which is Perth at this point of time. And I would just answer that question and then also add to what you just mentioned, Ashley, just sharing my own experience. I mean, when you talk to an agent and if the property has gone under offer already, a lot of times people feel, oh, it's already gone, I've missed out. They just drop the phone and they drop the ball. However, that is the time for them to ask the question, okay, what else do you have coming up in this brief? And if you do it every single week, now the idea is, the trick is that you have to be able to reach out to at least 20 agents in the suburbs that you want to buy. And you also have to have the right suburbs picked before. So you need to know what suburbs you would be buying in. And you call the agents and you tell them that I need to be buying in this suburb, either a 3-bed, 2-bath property or a 4-bed, 2-bath property, which should be at least a 400, 500 square meter lot, whatever it looks like. And I'm ready to go. I'm finance approved. So you just are giving the confidence to the agent as well that you are a serious buyer and you have done your work. If you say, oh, what do you have coming up? Is there something you can share with me? Well, they have people making cash offers. They have serious buyers already there. So if you're sounding like a casual buyer, that is a big turnoff for any real estate agent. And that's not just in Perth, but also in other hot markets like Brisbane, Adelaide. They are going out of the roof. So I think that applies over there as well. What are your thoughts on that, Ashley?
Yeah, I like how you said 20 agents, because that's good, because different selling agents all work in different ways. So you're going to have some selling agents that are the young ones that love doing massive home opens and getting as many offers as they can. But equally, there's also some really old school selling agents that are really happy to work one-on-one with clients and really offer that extra. So I like that, because if you can connect with, or try and connect with 20 of them in an area, you're going to work out which ones are going to help you and which ones are, a little bit more seller-centric. So I think that's really good. I think off markets, it's one thing that I was curious to find out from you, whether buyers agents can get better or get more off-market opportunities than what a private client can. Because for me, I sort of feel like actually I'm a little bit mixed with it, because I don't understand why sellers would go off market. Like, wouldn't you all want to just have like a really big home open and have everyone through? But then like recently I've had a couple of clients want to sell, and they've actually got pretty valid reasons why they want to keep them off market. So, I mean, do you think as a buyer's agent, like, you would have an opportunity to potentially have more off market opportunities because you guys are potentially better at creating those relationships with the selling agents than maybe what a private client could do?
I think there are two answers, or maybe three answers to this question. The first answer you did yourself. That definitely, because we are talking to them more and we have been dealing with those agents, we have bought through them before as well, so they understand how we work, we understand how they work. So that relationship is already there, which is key. Now when they have another property, they know whom they have dealt with recently in the last 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, and they will probably be sharing the properties with them, because if the experience was smooth, if our conditions were like reasonable and we had a smooth transaction, that's what everyone wants. That's what a buyer wants, that's what a seller wants, right? So Anyone can get off markets. The crux is how many agents you're talking to on a daily basis, how much time you're putting into it, and how much confidence you're giving to the agent that it will be a smooth transaction. That's simple. We are giving that confidence to them and talking to many of them on a daily basis. We are giving them that confidence that we have dealt in your area, we have bought in the next street where you are selling right now, or we have bought with yourself 2 months ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever it may be. And we have another buyer, just like last one, who's finance approved, who's ready to go, who will not muck around on, oh, there's a small paint peeling off the wall and I'm pulling out of the offer. Because if you do those kind of things, you will keep missing out. This is not the market to be being really messy about small kind of stuff. So you need to understand your risk pattern as well. Don't buy anything and everything, but really give that assurance to the sellers as well and to the agents that you are here for serious deal. You're not going to actually waste their time as well. So that's how you start getting off markets. I mean, there's no secret sauce to that, and I think anyone can do that. To be honest with you.
Yeah, can we just address like the conditions in contracts, because I get this asked quite a bit, and I always say to clients that a finance, and maybe you can tell me whether you think this is like right or wrong. I always say that finance clause is very reasonable in a contract, and and selling agents aren't really bothered by that. And then you've got your building and your pest inspection. So you've got three very standard clauses for Perth and for WA. What I do sometimes say to clients is that if you can, with your finance clause, maybe try and reduce it. If you're confident that you think you could get your finance in 7 days or 14 days, then that would be something that would be seen as standing out in an offer, because everyone wants the offer to go unconditional ASAP. And I don't personally recommend cash offers unless you physically have the money sitting in the bank.
Yep.
But if you can shorten that finance clause and you're confident with that, that could be one option. And then building and pest is pretty standard as well. I don't feel like you're disadvantaging yourself by having those standard clauses in there, but are you seeing people take them out to stand out in the market?
I think taking them out is not recommended. For sure. It's all about how you present that condition as well. For instance, we had this situation where I got a call from the agent on a Tuesday. He said, this is a property which will be going on market on Thursday. And the owner wants X amount of price. And I did my due diligence, checked the comparables. The price was not an issue. It was meeting the budget of my client, and the property was as per my client's requirements as well. It was in a growth suburb. It had good rentability. It was minimal maintenance. So it was ticking all those boxes. It was in a flood-free pocket. So we did all that due diligence, which I'm able to share with you now very quickly. Because the property was presented to us on a Tuesday, we did our due diligence quickly by calling the council, looking at the different data sources that we do. And by Tuesday evening, we were sure that this is the right property. We presented it to the client. They were happy with it. Next morning, we booked in a building and pest inspection for the property. And again, the agent has to come to the party as well. If they can't provide access to the property, it's a bit of a tricky thing. But they said, yeah, we can have access to the property. It's currently vacant. That's fine. So Wednesday, we did the building and pest without even having presented the offer. Now, that was a risk of around $600 over there. But in this kind of market, when you're buying an asset worth 700K or 600K, that is a risk worth taking, especially when you knew what the vendor wants in terms of price and whether we can match that price or not. That's really important. So we were comfortable from the finance side of things. But before making an offer, we said, okay, we will make the conditions as less as possible. We did the building and pest on Wednesday. The report came same night. It was all good. There were no issues in there. And next morning, we actually put our offer in with just a finance clause. There was no building and pest clause at all in the contract. Yeah. Suddenly, our offer was right up there. So even at that point, we were able to negotiate around 7 or 8 grand from the asking price as well, because now the seller had that confidence that this buyer has already done the due diligence. They have done the building and pest report, so they will not be mucking around that in future. Secondly, they're strong in terms of their finance, and they will make the deal happen. So that was the confidence they got, and they were happy to knock down from the asking price as well. So they gave us like an 8 grand discount, which is very hard to find in this Perth market. So it's about playing around your conditions and what can work in different scenarios. And I'm not saying that you always do a building and pest before making an offer. Sometimes it may just not work. It may be a rented property. You may not get access to the property. That is where you have to come up with a different negotiation style. So that's why every negotiation is also different.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, so that's what I did. I'm just conscious of the time, and I had lots of questions for you, which I really want to throw. with all the growth that has happened in the Perth market, like it has gone up by 22% in the last 12 months as per CoreLogic, and the overall national growth has been around 9%. So Perth is at least 2.5 times better than what the nation has performed overall. Is there still enough gas left in the tank in terms of capital growth? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think we have. I think that for the next 2 years, until the building industry recovers, we are going to still see that growth. I think a misconception is that people just assume that, like, when you have that growth and that peak, they assume there's always going to be a drop on the other end. I am not getting the feeling that there's going to be. I would love to see it stabilize a little bit, because I think that that's just what we're needed. But I feel like there are a lot of the same suburbs that are still being looked at for investing 3 years ago as what they are now. I feel like there's still so many other areas in Perth that haven't had that growth. And so that for that reason, I feel, and because of the building industry, I feel that we are still going to have a bit of growth there. I think from the rentals point of view, there will be still that growth, but it's definitely stabilized in a lot of areas. And I think that, and this sounds terrible, and I don't mean it with any disrespect, but we're sitting at about a 30% affordability. So what that means is that when tenants apply for properties, the comfort level for paying rent and being able to afford rent is really about 30% of their income. But then in other states, it's 50%, sometimes 70%. So part of me thinks that maybe WA renters need to change their budget a little bit and start looking towards the fact that it might be 50% of their income for, rental mortgage. And, what changes can they make? Because if we're seeing that in other states, I feel, and our wages are very similar in WA, there's no difference with them. I feel like we've got a bit of room to still have that growth. I think we're just going to have to toughen up in a way and get used to it.
I think you mentioned about wages, and I totally agree with you because I will come from a data perspective. Looking at the data, Perth, some suburbs have gone up by 40, 45, even 50% in the last couple of years, like where we have been buying, like Greenfields, like Beachboro, some of the suburbs like Eveleigh, Ellenbrook, they've done amazingly well. Then there are some other areas down south around in Wellard and areas like that. They've done very well. They still continue to do well, but there's enough gas left in the tank based on the disparity between, as you said, the building industry. There's not enough housing coming in. There's housing shortage. The incomes are really high. So Perth has the second best income, or WA, in fact, as a state, has second best average income after New South Wales. So people are making more money in Perth on average as compared to Melbourne, Brisbane, and Adelaide. But they're not spending that money in housing because the housing is still very affordable. The median sits around 700, 750K. The median in Sydney is sitting at 1.6 mil, right? So it's a big disparity. So people have money to spend. And because of that shortage of housing, not enough housing coming in, building cost going sky high, the immigration, the demand, it's completely flocking the market. The local immigration, the overseas migration, it's flocking the market badly. So that disparity still is there. And I would totally agree with you. If we see another 30% growth in the next couple of years, I won't be surprised at all in Perth. But you have to be in the right suburbs. Now, areas which have already made 40, 50% growth, some of those names I just mentioned, those are not the areas to buy now. They will still have growth, but it will be slower growth. Some of the other areas where you still have good growth, like Butler, like Clarkson, like Beckenham, like Balga, like Kundula, north side of the river. These are some of the suburbs which still have some good growth remaining in them, at least 20, 30% more to go over the next couple of years, as per the data. It's completely data backed. It's not what I think, but I think that's where people need to be looking more for opportunities. So I totally agree with you on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I was doing a list of the suburbs that clients have currently been inquiring the most about sort of in the last 4 weeks. And it's interesting, and I love talking to people like yourself because you follow data and analytics when I don't follow data and analytics. I follow trends. So, what I'm actually experiencing on the ground. So I say that as a disclaimer that these are just trending suburbs that the most people are talking about. We've got, and I'm not sure your thoughts on But I've got a few of the newer suburbs that and I'm going to mention these ones because there's a trickle of interest, but not a saturated interest at the moment. So for me, I'm always curious as to why someone has chosen that suburb. But we've got Yunderup, Wanneroo, Queens Park, 𝐀𝐄𝐒𝐲𝐝, Swanview, Midvale, Kinross, just a few suburbs that have come up where, like I said, not saturated with activity. Like my saturated ones, are Huntingdale, Baldivis, Clarkson actually is one of them, Seville Grove. Lots and lots of interest in those, but I love the ones where there's just a little bit of interest. So for me, that's really an interesting space, and they're the ones that I keep an eye on.
Yeah, definitely. And like you mentioned, 𝐀𝐄𝐻, we have had some huge growth in there already, because some suburbs may grow for only a couple of years, some others may grow for 4 or 5 years on the trot. And I'm talking about more than average growth, like more than 10% growth every single year. So 𝐀𝐄𝐻 has been growing already for 18 months. We have been buying over there down south around Mandra and Greenfields. Along with those three areas have been the key ones where we've been buying. And they still have some gas left in the tank, like 𝐀𝐄𝐻, definitely it's on our list as well, even for the next 12 to 24 months to be buying over there. So it's still like, it's not like every suburb will grow for only 24 months exactly. It's always a pattern, as you said. It's always a trend. You need to understand the trend, what is actually causing it. So I totally agree with you on that. So why do you think the market will not fall down? I just need to wrap it up now. What is the key? You think it will only be falling down?
I mean, I'm really happy with what our local government, our state government's been doing. I think that they're offering great grants, incentives to bring more properties on the market. I feel like they are recognising that there is not one big fix, even though I still do think the building industry would be that one big fix, but they're still doing good little changes in between to keep people in homes by having lots of really good grants, like for housing, but also just for personally. I feel like we've got some really great infrastructure. We've got our train lines are being updated at the moment. We've got so much land. We just need to get those buildings, brought up. I feel like the government's done a really good job. And like you said, we've got money here. We've got a lot of FIFO workers. People are earning good money. Our restaurants and bars and pubs are busy every single weekend. It's still one of the most affordable places to buy in Australia. And I just can't see. I think we as a state are just playing catch up with everyone, and I can't see a valid reason why it should go backwards.
Yeah, and there's so much economic activity happening, as you mentioned. 10 years ago, when there was a boom of mining and suddenly it went down, that's what actually brought the whole economy down in Perth, in WA, which affected the property prices as well, because mining was the only industry at the time. People only used to work primarily in mining. Now they have such a diverse economy. They have healthcare over there, they have government jobs, they have administration jobs, they have a lot of education centers opening up, high universities opening up, tourism coming in as well. They have like companies which are establishing over there. We were talking backstage, Ashleigh, about someone working in Canberra. There are offices in Canberra and Sydney, but they're setting up their coal mining projects over there. They're setting up their refineries in Perth, because it's much cheaper for them when they're actually shipping it out from Perth, from the West Coast. So I think a lot of economic activity is happening, and definitely it's not going to go downwards from here in terms of property prices. It's going to sustain it very well. Whether it will continue growing at 20% every year, well, I think that's not sustainable. It won't happen for the next 5 years, but at least for the next couple of years, we can expect good 15% growth per annum. Easy, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, beautiful. So we had one question from Irfan. I would like you to take this question, Ashleigh, before we round up. The suburbs near 10-kilometer radius of CBD always grow. Is this correct?
I'm a fan of the 10-kilometer radius, and that's probably because that's where I am, that's where my office is, and I'm very comfortable with that area. I think, to be honest though, you've probably seen the biggest growth a bit further out, but long term, good, stable consistency, yes to the 10 kilometres. But then I always say to my clients, high risk, high reward. I mean, it's safe. suburbs 10 kilometres are safe. If you really want that high risk, high reward, and live on the edge, you might get that quicker growth in some of those other outer suburbs, especially when you only plan to sort of buy in, make money, get out. That's my thought.
Yeah, okay. I would just add slightly different version in this, again, based on data, Irfan, to answer your question. I don't know where you are from, but I will give you an example of Perth and as well as Sydney. In Perth, area like Balga. Now, Balga is sitting at around 400, 450 grand in terms of median house prices. It's like 10 kilometers from Perth CBD, but it hasn't grown. Even in all this time, it has grown very slowly. And one of the chief reasons is it is flooded with a lot of social housing, and they're changing it. The demographics are changing now, but a lot of social housing has actually put people away from putting money in Balga. But now it is becoming a good area if you want to invest and make good growth over the next 3 years, 5 years. Balga is one of the good areas. Same with Westminster. It had the same issues as well. Coming back to Sydney, you are from WA, you mentioned, but probably I will park the example for Sydney. But Redfern in Sydney has had less growth as compared, it is like 5 kilometers from the CBD. It has had less growth as compared to Oran Park, which is 60 kilometers from the Sydney CBD. Just because Oran Park has a more diverse economy around it. It has CBD, it has multiple hospitals around it. People want to live there, lifestyle, amenities. So I think based on data, if I look at data, being closer to the CBD is not always a ticket for quick growth. If you're looking for quick growth, as Ashleigh said, long term, yes, it will really help you. If you're looking for some good solid growth in the next 3-year time frame, which allows you to buy your next property faster, just because of that equity growth, that is where you have to buy in diverse economic areas where the economy is diverse. People are going for jobs. They have multiple jobs within 20, 30 kilometer, 20 or 30 minute radius, sorry, not kilometer. And there's ample opportunities in WA where you can still do that. So I think slightly different view than what Ashleigh said, but I think I'm more coming from the data point of view. But yes, long term, closer to the CBD is less risky, as you said, Ashleigh.
But the other thing I would say is that generally that closer to the city, the block sizes are a bit smaller. So if you believe that sort of it's the land that goes up in value, not the house, then it's also because you get those bigger blocks in those outer suburbs, and it's the block and the land that goes up in value. So that could be something else that's a little bit of a factor.
Exactly. Now, thanks very much for that, Ashleigh. I think it has been an amazing discussion, and I'm just looking at the time. So I just wanted to quickly wrap it up. I know you help people who are looking to buy. You do online assessments for people. You actually do walkthroughs for them as well, private walkthroughs. So if someone is looking to buy in Perth and they want your services, they can't do it on their own, they want your help, how they can reach out to you?
Yeah, so I'm really Googleable, so you can easily just put my name in and find me very easily. But it's ashleigh@𝐀𝐄𝐒realty.com.au. But we've got quite an interactive website. Just jump onto my website and touch base with me. We do all your online assessments and due diligence complimentary. So unlimited properties. Every time you see a property for sale, you can just email that through to me, and same day or within 24 hours, you'll get some more information about that property that's going to help you. That's probably the best way to start the ball rolling. If you want pre-purchase inspections, which is physically like me going through a property 7 days a week, doing a walkthrough as if it was you doing it, I will pull out all the flaws, the problems, budget for maintenance, etc. And we do have a very small fee for doing those pre-purchase inspections for clients if you need. And then, of course, we've got our property management services. So there's a few ways to work with us: free and affordable, and then a good value fee schedule as well for property management.
Amazing. We all need that, and you have helped me in the past as well, Ashleigh. If I've had some questions, I would just give a call to her and I'll say, Ashleigh, what do you think about this? Because you are actually locally present there. How can you help, or how can you help my team as well? Even if my team has any questions, they will reach out to you, and you will always be helping them out. So really, really thankful for that, and also for your time today. So you've been very kind to sit and share your knowledge. So would you like to share your email address again, or your contact details, and we'll put that in the comments as well, so that people can
Ashleigh@𝐀𝐄𝐒realty.com.au and 𝐀𝐄𝐒realty.com.au for our website. If you just want to click on there, you can download our fee schedules, you put your details in regarding property profiling, which is what we do with our investor support, and we'll send you out a package.
Amazing. Thank you so very much for that, Ashleigh, and thank you very much for your time today. I hope we were able to deliver some value for our viewers, and just dissect that Perth market a little bit more. It's still a good area to be investing in. I think it's all about your due diligence and your speed. If you know what you're buying, for what price you're buying, and how quickly you can make that move, that's how you will differ from an average buyer, right? So I think that's the whole summary of what we discussed. Thank you so much, Ashley, for your time, and I'll see you around very soon. Take care.
My pleasure. Thanks, Adeel.
Take care.